Hello, my name is Stan Rockwell. I want to spend some time talking about mindfulness in Taijiquan and Qigong. In Western and U.S. culture, mindfulness has been a big thing for a number of decades now. First notion I remember of it was Baba Ram Dass back in the 70s, all the way up through John Kabat-Zinn and his mindfulness-based stress reduction. And there have been many others, like Thich Nhat Hanh has written a lot about mindfulness from a Zen perspective. It's also being used a lot in medical care these days. If you've ever read any Alan Watts, his last book was called Tao, the Watercourse Way. And he died before it was completed, and a Chinese Taiji master and calligraphy master finished the book for him. And one of the things they talked about in there was the use of motion in meditation, and how stillness and sitting maybe wasn't the preferred way back hundreds and hundreds of years ago. And they looked at movement in meditation. Zhongliang Aohuang was who, by the way, who co-wrote it with him. They looked at it as almost like sailing a boat. So Qigong has been around for roughly 5,000 years. There are about 8,000 different forms. Taiji in its modern forms first began in the early 1600s. Both duality, and what affects one affects the other. So being mindful, in Western traditions, it's often just here now, wherever you are, you're doing whatever you're doing, your mind is on that and not wandering off onto something else. Default setting for our mind is basically static, just kind of going from one thing to another to another. And what we're trying to do is focus on one thing. In Eastern traditions, and it's come to what was also used that of finding enlightenment. So we're going to go through those steps. And the very first thing, if you're taking a traditional class, many traditional classes anyway, is they're going to get you in touch with your body and where your body is in space, because oftentimes we sort of lose track of that as we get older. We don't have to think about it. And we still don't want to think about it, but we want to have that awareness. One of the things that gives us an awareness is pain. And when we're out of alignment with gravity, that can give us pain. So the first thing, foundation with our feet. You can do this sitting. Today we're going to focus on the standing part, but if you are doing this sitting down, you focus on the hips up, having that perpendicular line. The knees and feet are going to be in alignment with the hip. And if you can find a chair where you have a right angle for the knee, that's where you want to be. And you don't lean up against the back of the chair. For standing, our foundation is going to be an invisible line around the outsides of our feet. Everything inside that rectangle is going to be our foundation. And we want to have that very secure, so again, we don't have to think about it. It just helps keep us upright. You want to have your feet as parallel as you can, and the shoulder width, sides of the feet and outsides of the shoulders. You have them, you can put the heel at the instep, rotate on the forefoot, and bring that other foot up, and that should about do it. And pay attention to the bottoms of your feet. How do your feet feel against the floor? If you're barefoot on carpet, if you're outside and wearing shoes, how do your feet feel against the insides of your shoes, and through that to whatever surface you're standing on. Incidentally, Tai Chi is based on Taoist philosophy, which is nature, so another part of this is becoming in harmony with nature, and they would often do it outside. Make sure you have arches in each foot. If you're like me and your feet are flat, the knees tend to bow in like that. So you bring your arches up till your knees are pointed in the same direction as your toes. Just begin to relax and sink into it. And for all of this, you only do 70% of whatever you're capable of at this moment. So if you're having any issues with aches or pains or illness, stay within whatever your medical guidelines are and only do 70% of whatever you're capable of at this moment. As you do this over time, that 70% increases. So again, just relax into your feet. You have acupressure points in the center of each forefoot. Translates as bubbling well, Yang Chuen. It's the K1 acupressure point in the kidney meridian. You just kind of feel how, as you're standing, those are massaging a little bit. In Qigong and Tai Chi, there's energy moving through your body. It's more about internal than external. And styles, it's called Qigong, where it's basically standing meditation, where you're moving the energy inside. I have one teacher who, whenever she's standing, she's always doing these little kind of spiraling motions, just trying to move that energy through her body. And when you do that, you also give yourself a little bit of a foot massage when you're doing it. But it's also another way of not getting quite so tired when you're standing. Walking actually is less tiring than a standing meditation, because you're here, each foot is, hopefully, if I'm evenly balanced, carrying an equal amount of weight, and it's not getting any rest. You have another acupressure point in the crown of your head called the Ba Wei, crown chakra. Just visualize a line of tats there, pulling you straight up, stretching you upwards, making you taller, stacking your vertebrae on top of each other, and it starts to make changes to how your body is carried in space. Tailbone drops down a little bit, hips move back a little bit. It flattens out your stomach and your lower back. If that doesn't feel comfortable, relax into whatever feels best for you. But trying to get the hips relaxed. There's going to be a little bit of a bend in the knees. The tops of your hips are going to be parallel to the floor. Tops of your shoulders are going to be parallel to the floor or the ground. They're going to relax down the center line. As that line pulls you upward, it lifts the back of your head, tucks your chin in a little bit, and may move your head back just a little bit, so that if you were to drop a line from your earlobes, it would go through the center of your shoulder, the center of your hips, the center of your ankles. Line across your eyes and ears is parallel to the floor. So you're not tilting in any direction. You're in a central, neutral position, equally balanced in all directions. And at that point, you focus on your breath. And a big part of mindfulness and meditation is your breathing. There are two styles, at least two styles of breathing in Taijiquan and Qigong. One is Buddhist breathing, and that's the one we most typically do. You inhale through your nose down to your diaphragm, pull that diaphragm down, your belly expands outwards, you expand outwards on the side, you expand outwards on the back. You touch the tip of your tongue to the roof of your mouth behind your front teeth. So just inhale. Feel that expansion. And exhale. Let it all out. You could even sigh as you let it out, and let whatever tension is inside just flow out and away from you. The other style is something called Taoist breathing. And the teachers I've had, it was used basically for martial purposes. On the inhale, stomach goes in. On the exhale, stomach goes out. And over the past 6 or 7 months, I've had a almost daily practice of Helen Young's Qigong for cancer, and most all, if not all, of her different movements, which she uses to engage specific energy meridians in your body. She uses Taoist breathing, and it's a real different kind of feel to it. We're going to do Buddhist breathing though. So as you inhale, there's expansion out. On the exhale, you pull that pelvic floor up. It's like you're doing Kegels, so the perineum pulls up. It's kind of, on the Taoist breathing, it's the exact opposite, but we're going to do the Buddhist breathing. So it's an inhale, and an exhale. So going to make the exhale last longer than the inhale. So I'm just going to mentally count to 5 on the inhale and mentally hold it for just a second, mentally count to 7 on the exhale. So let's do that about 3 times. So inhale. And exhale. And inhale. And exhale. One more. Inhale. And exhale. And just relax. You notice I have my hands down over what's called the lower dantian. Remember, in Eastern medicine, there's 3 major energy centers: upper dantian, middle dantian, lower dantian. Dantian translates as elixir field. It's where major stores of energy are. I think of it as the electromagnetic field around your brain, around your heart, and around your inner nervous system, which is a real major nerve. I've only been learning about it in the last few decades. It has a big impact on our health and on our emotional well-being. There's a relaxation exercise that's often done in Qigong and Tai Chi in getting yourself ready for movement. You visualize yourself like bamboo. And you know, bamboo comes in sections. So it's your body's in sections, and you relax each one at a time. So the top section is your head. So just do the Buddhist breathing. On the exhale, just let any tension in your face, around your head, the top of your head, your ears, your eyes, around your nose, your mouth, your jaw, into your neck, just let it soften and melt and just relax. We are keeping tone to the muscles. We're not going total shavasana on this. We're finding that middle ground. You're not too tight because that's too young, and you're not too loose, that's too yin. You want to be in the middle way. Next section is around your shoulders to about mid-chest. There's acupressure points there. We want to get those relaxed just around the shoulders and inside the shoulders. And right. So just breathe. And just let all the tension in the upper chest just soften and relax. And just pay attention to how your body feels as you breathe, how the air feels as it goes in and out. Next section is about just below belt, just below pecs. Covers that lower dantian. Just breathe into it and let it relax. Feel that expansion as you inhale all the way around. Next section, belt down just below your hips. Hips, the inguinal crease is called the qua. And in movements in Tai Chi, you're moving around this lower dantian and opening and closing the qua. So just breathe and relax everything in there, all the muscles. Now we're going to focus on the rest of the legs, down into the feet and the toes. And just let everything soften. Just let all the tightness, all the tension just flow away. And just relax. Sometimes visualizing things softening or melting works better than saying relax, so just soften. Sometimes if I have trouble sleeping, I'll do an exercise like this, but it'll just say soften the muscles, and do a scan starting at the top and working the way down. Try to relax, but also to calm the mind down. One of the methods in Western psychology and also in Eastern Tai Chi to learn better how your body feels when it relaxes is to tense it up. And I know when I was working as a therapist, one of the relaxation exercises we did was have people sit in a chair, get their posture, start their toes, work all the way up to the top of their head and the tips of their fingers. You tense everything up, and then you relax it. There's an exercise in Qigong where you have fists at your hips. You're in this standing position with everything balanced. As you reach out, you feel that turn, you turn that hand, and you just tense every muscle in your body, and you come back and you let all that tension just drain. Don't lock any joints when you reach out. Keep always some softness in your joints as you tighten everything up. Fingers are touching Lao Gong points, which are more acupressure points. Come back, let everything soften. Reach out to punch, let everything tighten up. And just let everything soften. It's an exhale as you tighten. Inhale as you come back. Let's do one more. Just flex your fingers, let everything relax. Have your hands palm up about hip level. We're going to do some moving meditation. Just reach out, either hand, it doesn't matter. Comes out, sweeps around, and comes right down that center line. It's an inhale and an exhale. When your hand comes down, there's a little bit of a bend in the knees, but not much, and you don't have to do that. Now we're going to use both hands, so the lower hand is going to come up palm facing. It's going to sweep out, palm down. As your hands come out to the side, balance everything out. Hands come back to where they started, and we'll do the same thing on the other side. It's an inhale and an exhale. If you feel your hands start to tingle or they get a little warm, that's normal. Means you're moving some energy around in there. In Chinese theory, anyway. And then we're going to do both hands. So this lower hand's going to come up with the palm facing towards me. It sweeps out around. Hands come out and down. There's a moving meditation that's a part of Tai Chi. It's also used in Qigong. In Qigong, they sometimes call it different names, but it's wave hands like clouds, basically. Every Tai Chi of it. This is the Yang version. Just have your hands, lower palm is facing towards your lower dantian, upper hand is more or less facing towards middle dantian. You don't want it up here covering your eyes. Keeping your knees nice and soft, turn on that central axis. That's that line running from the byway down through the center of your body, through the perineum, and hits the floor right in the middle of that foundation we set up at the beginning. Shoulders nice and relaxed, elbows dropped. So you turn to the side where the hand is on top and turn that hand out. Let it drop down like it's going to tap on a drum. As the other hand comes up, you come back to the center. You do the same thing on the other side. Just synchronize your breathing, so you're inhaling in one direction, exhaling in the other. And then, to get your feet involved, shift your weight to whichever side is the hand is up. And remember, we're going to have like a pendulum hanging down. Right now it's going straight through this leg to the middle of that foot, and then it goes across straight to the other side. So we're never moving outside our foundation. We're keeping our balance throughout all this. It's just like you're out on the waves getting rocked gently. Just focus on your movements, hold your breath, let everything else fade away. You can do this however long you want. Come back to the center. Then we're going to do the sun style. You can try both and see which one gives you more. Pay attention to your hands and how you feel. But sun style, upper hands palm out, lower hands palm down. Come across. Fingers are below eye level on the upper hand. And just sway. Come back to the center and your palms are facing. There's some space under your arms because you don't want to block the flow of lymph for blood or qi, that life force in Chinese medicine. Just visualize you have a big ball that you're holding in your arms, and it starts to expand, but you're trying to keep it from expanding, so you're pressing against it. Then you're able to press in, but it's still pressing back, so there's a little bit of movement in your wrist too. It's an inhale and an exhale. This is an easy one to do standing or sitting. Back to center, similar, sort of similar one you can do with your hands. One hand goes forward, palm up, other hand comes near the bicep, and you're going to turn on that center axis as you press and pull. Exhale. Inhale and exhale. We're going to do something where you just bring your hands up and press down like you're balancing everything out. It's an inhale up and exhale down. It's sometimes called sinking your chi, which in Qigong Tai Chi, what you're doing is you're relaxing your body down, lowering your center of gravity. So it's harder to get you off your feet, but you feel that really firm rooting connection to the earth. You've come down into the earth, getting you very stable. So you're kind of swaying like a tree in the breathe. If you study with a traditional Chinese teacher, one of the first things it will do is have you do a standing meditation. You'll do some of these as a warm-up, but you'll have your feet shoulder width apart. Get yourself nice and relaxed. Sink down into your lower body so it's very firm and connected to the earth. Shoulders nice and relaxed. And we're going to do a very high stance. It's much easier on your hips and on your knees. Traditional folks have the feet further apart. They move like they're going to sit down in a chair, and at the end of it there's a right angle in their knees, so their thighs are perpendicular to the earth. The shins are thighs are parallel to the earth, shins are perpendicular to the earth, and their head's right over the center of that foundation. If you really want to strengthen your legs, that's one way to do it, but some of us can't do that very well anymore. So we're going to do a high horse riding stance. Let your arms come up. We're just going to let them float back down and sink a little bit more. So it's almost like you're painting the wall. Your hands are the brush. So you're getting the acupressure points in your wrists engaged too. It's an inhale up and an exhale down. And this is opening the door, Qi Shi, opening the energy gates of your body. As your hands come down, just let them come out a little bit and pause there with your hands facing the floor or the earth or wherever you're standing. Relax your shoulders and just hold that there. And this is a standing meditation that's frequently used. And just breathe. Last class I had with a Chinese teacher, we did this for about half an hour. Fortunately, she let us take some breaks now and then. There's another version of this that's used a lot that I really like. Just bring your arms so it's like you have your arms around a tree. Elbows are dropped, shoulders nice relaxed. Fingers, tips are kind of facing each other. We're just going to hold this and breathe. Focus on your breath. If any thoughts come, just let them float by like clouds. No attachments, just let them go. Come back to your breathing. let your hands drop down. Inhale up and exhale down. All the movements and standing meditations we've done are pretty simple, hopefully easy to remember, and you can practice them on your own. And thank you for joining me. Stay safe, healthy, and well. See you next time.